Hi, this is Jacques Taylor, and you're listening to JacquesTalk. This is a podcast where I talk about the Cowboys, the team I've covered as a beat writer, columnist, TV insider, and radio host for 28 years. I'll also talk about the NFL and the things I love, working out, streaming, food, and all things down. Welcome to JacquesTalk, where sports is fluid. What's true today might not be true an hour, a day, or a month from now. I'm going to give you the truth straight, no chaser. Glad to have you aboard. Let's get it. Hey, my friends, welcome to episode 118 of JacquesTalk. I'm Jacques Taylor, joined by my boy Big Joe in the Big Rig. He's spicy today, so let's get ready to go. What's the sit rep, bro?
No, I ain't spicy. I'm professional. I'm professional today, every day. The sit rep is we are 58 seconds in, and we finally getting this thing kicked off, and we are 5 by 5. Operation JacquesTalk is finally a go this morning.
Oh, that was unnecessary, man. It's episode 118. 18 leads to who, bro?
Glenn Carano.
Boy, you went back in the record books for that.
That's too easy.
Glenn Carano, he was supposed to be really good. Always waiting in the wings behind Starback and Danny White. And then I think he got a brief opportunity to play, and they decided he wasn't any good. And so he was gone. His daughter, though, turned into an action star. Gina Carano, I believe is her name. Do you got any memories of Glenn Carano?
Is that his daughter, Gina Carano?
Yeah, that's his daughter.
She got kicked off the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
For texting, for tweeting some crazy stuff. Okay, she pretty good. She was pretty good, too. So I didn't know that was his daughter.
Okay, Glenn Carano. Here's some, I like these sidetracks we go off on. He spent his entire career with the Dallas Cowboys. 6 seasons. How many passes did he throw?
Probably 18.
That's a good guess. He threw 57 passes. How many games did he start?
I don't know.
He started 1 game. And he was 1-0 as a starter. And so clearly, the Cowboys won that game. Let's go to the record book real quick and see. He started... They beat Baltimore. This is interesting. They beat Baltimore on December 6, 1981. 37-13. Glenn Carano, 7 of 18, 51 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Yet they won at Baltimore 37-13. Dude, that makes you want to go look at the box, don't it? It's just okay, the Cowboys scored 17 points in the first quarter. A 1 yard, I don't know what he did. A 1 yard run by Ron Springs. A 42-yard field goal by Raphael Septien. A 2-yard run by Ron Springs made it 17-0. Curtis Dickey, remember him?
Yeah, number 27 out of A&M.
Yeah, that's why I remember him from Texas A&M. He had a 67-yard touchdown, made it 17-6.
And a track star.
Ron Springs with a 2-yard catch. So Ron Springs had 3 touchdowns, making 24-6. Raphael Septien with a field goal. It was 27-6 at halftime, and my suspicion is they handed the ball off the rest of the game. And that's why he only threw 18 passes. So that's more than you ever wanted to know about Glenn Carano. I feel confident about that. Well, here's the answer to the question, dog. Tony Dorsett, 30 carries, 175 yards. Ron Springs, 16 carries for 40. And Timmy Newsome, 12 for 31. So there you go. 30 for 175 by TD and a touchdown. That was the difference. And that's why Glenn Carano's only NFL start. That's enough about Glenn Carano, don't you think?
Yeah, the little bitty safety they played a couple of years ago. I can't remember his name. He started, I think, the first year that what's my man's name? The coach that we just lost, defense coordinator. I'm having an old man moment.
Dan Quinn?
Yeah, the first year Dan Quinn was there, he had a guy wearing 18. I can't remember his name.
I wish him luck in his future endeavors.
Yeah, he out of here. He took a lot of bad angles. He was out of here.
Yeah. Before we get to Clarence Hill Jr., who has a few things he wants to discuss, I know y'all find that surprising. Let's spend just a moment, my friend, and I have a theory for you. That's why we're going to talk about it. Talking about the Texas Rangers, who are struggling beyond struggling this year. They just won last night over that would be Wednesday night over the Mets to avoid a sweep. I was calling them the lowly Mets until I realized they had a better record than the Rangers. Rangers right now are 34-40, 9 games behind first place Seattle. Remember how bad the Houston Astros started and how we talked about the Houston Astros? The Rangers are now tied with the Houston Astros in second place. That's how poorly they have played. In any other division, real talk, it would be over because in the AL East, Tampa Bay has a similar record at 35-39, and they 15 games out. And in the Central, Detroit has a similar record at 34-40, and they 12.5 games out. So the only reason they still have the smallest of chances is because they're in the West, and Seattle just hadn't pulled away yet. But Seattle is at 44-32 with a terrific pitching staff and looking good. But now I said all of that, I say that to say this. At one level, dog, I'm not surprised the Texas Rangers have struggled. At one level I am, at another level I'm not. And here's why. This is a rhetorical question for you to answer. I say that because sometimes I just ask a rhetorical question, but I don't really expect you to answer. Do you know one reason why one kind of abstract reason why the Texas Rangers won the World Series last year?
If it's rhetorical, I ain't supposed to answer it.
No.
What you saying?
No.
You said it's a rhetorical question.
No, I said I meant for you to answer, so I misspoke, so I'm sorry.
You a wordsmith.
Usually I don't want you to answer,
you
but this
a
time I
wordsmith,
do.
dog. What we talking about?
But I'm human, man. I'm like Luka. I'm great, but once I made a mistake here or there.
I'm thinking you ain't great, but all right.
My resume says otherwise.
I don't know.
I mean, you know.
Resumes don't work for you. You do the work.
The question is, do you have an abstract reason why the Rangers won the World Series last year?
Why they not as good this year, or why they won last year? Why they won last year?
Yeah.
Sometimes everything comes together for you. Sometimes you put it all together. Sometimes all the parts work.
You know what? That's actually the answer. But the answer is this.
Okay.
Outside, what you said is really kind of the answer. That's why I said it was kind of an abstract answer. But when you look at it, outside of Nathaniel Lowe, the first baseman, pretty much, and I'm just going to rattle off the names for you right quick. Jonah Heim, Corey Seager, what's his face? Josh Young, Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien, Evan Carter, who didn't play a whole lot, Mitch Garver. Here's the deal, dog. Every one of those guys I just named, to a certain extent, had a career year last year. Which is insane to have all those guys have basically a career year in the same year. And that's one reason why they won. And what I mean is, like Jonah Heim, he had 18 homers and 95 ribbies. Before then, his career highs were 6 and 31. That don't even make no sense. You know what I mean? I mean, there was 2 more homers and 50 more ribbies than he'd had in any other year. Marcus Semien didn't have career highs, but he led the league in runs and hits for the first time. Corey Seager had a career high in homers and a career high in ribbies. Adolis Garcia, career high in homers, career high in ribbies. I mean, it just goes down the list.
Well, a lot of that is expectations, and pressure. When last year nobody expected them to win nothing. So there's no pressure, there's no expectations, and you riffing, you going. This year you the world champs. Everybody up. It's the same thing in a lot of sports, in a lot of team sports. If you the champ, everybody's up for you. Ain't nobody overlooking you. Ain't nobody saying it's gonna be an easy day today. They're saying let's go out and whoop the champs. And when you the champs, people expect you to play like the champs. There's a little pressure with that.
You know what's interesting about that, or I've always thought it was interesting about that, is that Ron Washington said it best. And I understand it conceptually, and it's interesting how so many people can't do it because they fall victim to what you're talking about. Like Ron Washington said, and maybe this is because Ron Washington was never a great player. He said, when you get the big contract, he said, I never understood why people usually in the first year of a big contract don't perform to the level of the contract or to the level that got them the contract. He said, because they trying to do too much and they're doing this and they're doing that. He's like, it should be the reverse. You got the money. You got the contract. You're not taken care of. He said that should relieve the pressure because you got it. He said instead, people put the weight on their world of themselves, and it's usually the second year where they finally settle down and play the way that they're supposed to play. And you can really look at Simeon and Seeger in year one in Texas, and it was almost the same thing. Neither one of them played well. And then the second year, they kind of relaxed and, did their thing. But I was going to use Evan Carter as an example. Like Evan Carter showed up, and in just a handful of games, like 20 games, 62 at bats, he had 5 homers, 12 ribbies, and had an OPS of 1.05H, which is tremendous. So this year, in more than 120 at bats, he got 5 homers, 15 RBI, and an OPS of 633, which is bad. And so, they've had those kind of drop-offs to guys either returning to the mean or doing less than the mean, their career averages. And so just like everybody had a career there last year, almost nobody's doing even their career numbers this year. And that's why their offense has been so bad most of the year, and that's why they've struggled most of the year, because the pitching has actually been good enough to win. But they've scored 3 runs or fewer in almost half their starts. And even with good pitching, dog, it's hard to win like that. So when they get Josh Young back, he broke a bone in his wrist right before the start of the season. He hadn't played. He should add some punch to the offense, and maybe everybody can get back in their normal spot in the batting order, and they can then go about trying to just put some winning streaks together. Like they lost yesterday, or they lost 2 days ago to the Mets, blew a 5-2 lead, and then they won yesterday, I believe, 5-3. And the key to that is, if I go back and look, that's probably the first time in forever that they've scored more than 5 runs on back-to-back games. So hopefully they can start to put a little offense together. If so, I think their pitching will be good enough. They get Scherzer back probably next week. DeGrom hopefully will be back in August, and he'll have something to pitch for. It's not over, but it's getting dark outside, dog. They need to do something because they're not going to get a wild card spot. The only way for them to get into the playoffs is probably, to win the division because everybody else is running away. Baltimore is at 48-25. They're probably going to get a wild card spot. All the other teams, got 40, so they're 40 wins, so they're 7 games behind them. So they got a lot of work to do, man. But they still got about half the season. But it's time for the Rangers, if they're gonna make a move, to crank it up. Have you paid much attention to them?
No, not yet. It ain't time.
When is the time? Is now the time? This month period before football start?
Yep. It ain't gonna be nothing else going on. It's just like last year. By the time I picked them up, they was kicking people's butt. So it's like, all right then, let's get it. And then the thing about Evan Carter is it's crazy because everybody's like, Evan who? And once they get the tape, he was knocking the cover off the ball, but once they get that tape on you,
yes, sir,
it's up to you to adjust.
Sir.
You have to keep working your game because what worked last year ain't gonna work this year when everybody notices who you are.
Man, baseball, more than any of the other sports, really, is that game of adjustments because you play so much. And, dude, when they find your weakness, man, until you fix that thing, them pitchers throw that ball to that spot 99% of the time. And the only time they don't is what? They made a mistake and left it in the spot that they weren't supposed to leave it. But other than that, they're going for that one spot. You know, those of you who play Major League Baseball video game, you know they got that quadrant with 9 different hitting spots on it. They find that quadrant where you can't hit. The ball is going there, dog, until you prove you can hit it. And then they'll make another adjustment. And that's what Evan Carter's going through right now. My man Mark McLemore told me this was going to happen. He said, I don't know why they expected him to have this instant impact this year. He's like, this pitcher's got a whole offseason to get the book on him, and he only played a handful of games when he came up. So he says when they get the book on him, he's going to have to make another set of adjustments, and that's going to take some time.
Yeah, you see a lot of rookies come in baseball do that. One of the most famous rookies I ever seen was Joe Charbonneau for the Cleveland Indians. Super Joe Charbonneau. He was killing the ball. Cleveland was crazy about him. And he just faded away because he never could make adjustments.
Dude, the Rangers had a guy like that.
Was you in Ohio at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people don't remember him, but you'd have to be in Ohio maybe to remember him.
No, I was trying to figure out how long he played. How long you think Joe Charbonneau played?
3 years.
Damn, dog, you are almost correct. He did play 3 years. Mm-hmm. His rookie year, this is amazing. His rookie year, he hit 289 with 23 homers, 87 ribbies, 76 runs. But he was an old rookie at 25. Although back in that time, 40 years ago, maybe guys didn't move through the system quite as fast. His second year, he was hurt a little bit, hit 210. Dog, he played 131 games his first year. His second year, he played 48 games, hit 210. His third year, he played 22 games, hit 214. He never played again.
He was a hell of a story. Super Joe Charbonneau.
Okay, I thought the Rangers guy was like this too. Dave Hostetler. You remember him?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hostetler, in 82, which is his first full rookie season, 22 homers, 67 ribbies. The next 2 years, he combined for 14 homers, 56 ribbies, and was out the league. So, dog, you got me thinking about it now. You know who else was like that recently? Well, it's 2 players, both of them with the Rangers, who come into mind.
What about Gabe Kaplan?
I think he forged out a 12-year career, so he don't fit in there.
He was supposed to be he was like the minor league player of the year, and he had the shoe deal and all of that. He was supposed to be a superstar, but he ended up being okay though.
You know who's going down that path is former fan favorite Joey Gallo.
Gallo.
Like, because Joey Gallo, dude, we're in 2024. In 2019, he hit 250 with, that's not even a good year because he only played 57 games. He played 70 games, hit 22 homers, hit 250 with 50 ribbies in 2019. So that's 5 seasons ago. Since then, bro, he has, I'm waiting for the stats to go. Since then, he has a batting average of 180 in 1,749 plate appearances. He's got 93 homers, which is great, and 201 RBI, but he's only got 263 hits, and he's struck out 668 times. So, he is a black hole when it comes to the plate. So, but anyway, it just reminded me of those guys because we thought for a minute he was going to be a star. But even when he hit 41 homers, he still only batted 209. And then when he hit 40 homers the next year, he batted 206. So, at a certain point, even though you can hit it out, it's like, geez, man, you can't get on base. So, but he's still in the league, man. He's playing with Washington right now, hitting 164 with 5 homers and 11 ribbies and 140 at bats. I don't know how much longer he can. Dude, he has not hit. Joe, he has not hit above. This is amazing that he's still in the league. He has not hit above 177 in Major League Baseball since
he's
2021.
He's the Carson Wentz of baseball. He looked the part. You know what I'm saying? He looks the part. He's probably a nicer guy than Carson Wentz. He's probably a team guy, professional. He looked the part. Potential and professionalism will get you a lot of jobs in these leagues.
You know what? Yes, that is a great point because you are 100% right. If you show up and do your job and be a good teammate on a regular basis, and people have seen that you can do it, and you're not a 7-letter cuss word, and so they don't mind being around you.
Yep.
You will get every single solitary opportunity to fail.
Rick Myra in football, players like, what I'm saying, quarterbacks like that guy. What's my man named? David Carr. Carr got a lot of checks for being a professional and being a good dude. I don't know. It's okay with me. I ain't mad at you.
No, the other guy who came to mind was Chris Davis. Who had a stretch of years with the Baltimore Orioles after the Rangers traded him. He had 33 and 85 and hit 270, 53 and 138 and hit 286, and then he kind of fell off a cliff. One year he had one more year where he had 47 and 117 and hit 262 in 2015, and after that he went 221, 215, 168, 179, 115. He still has some power, so a guy like Gallo can stay because he's actually a good outfielder defensively.
Yep.
And if you need a pinch hitter, if he get it, it's gone. It's just a matter if he get it. So if you have a late inning pinch hit at bat, he's a guy you wouldn't mind putting up at the plate because the potential is always there for him to hit it out. He's like an old heavyweight knockout expert now. They don't win a lot, but you still got to be wary of that left hook because if he catch you, you gone. But we tried to bring you in slowly to the baseball talk, but it was pretty good, so we extended it a little bit. Let's call Clarence Hill Jr. and see if he's can tell us a little bit about his Juneteenth day. Since I believe he was hanging around with Opal Lee yesterday, the mother of Juneteenth.
Hello.
What's up, Mr. Juneteenth? This is Clarence Hill Jr., brought to you each and every Wednesday or Friday by Smokey John's Barbecue, 1820 West Mockingbird. What's up, bro?
I'm well, man. How are you guys doing this fine Thursday morning? Is it Thursday? My dates all mixed up. Yesterday felt like a Saturday. I know it was a Wednesday. It was a Juneteenth holiday. It felt like a Saturday.
All right, this I wanted to talk to you about Juneteenth because I spent Father's Day with my dad, and I took your advice. And after we settled down, and because I was with him and my brother and my son for about 4 days, we took about an hour, maybe a little bit longer, but at least an hour. And he told us about, I knew about his mom and his dad, but, it was good for my brother and my son to hear. And then he told us about some stories about his grandparents. Mm-hmm. And, I like to remind people when we have these opportunities, especially on something like Juneteenth, and there may be a segment of the population who says, well, what's the big deal? Why is it an important thing? And I like to remind people that my father could not sit at the lunch counter in Nashville, Tennessee growing up That's my dad. So this is not something that happened in the history books like 1,000 years ago. And then his grandfather was born a slave. That's how close it is. So this is not something that happened, back in BC period where people was riding on donkeys and stuff. Like, my father's grandfather was born a slave. And he was telling this story about one of the reasons his particular family has had a lot of successful people is they were house slaves. And so they picked up some knowledge from being in the house and being in that environment where you can overhear conversations and stuff. And so when they were free, their thought was, let's not be sharecroppers. Let's really go buy this land and start a farm and see if we can start our own community and really be independent. And from that, grew people who, were going off to college at a time where most people didn't go to college, most people of color. And so it was real, again, it just brings it home that it's not that far away and you're not that far removed from any of the stuff that we use to celebrate on Juneteenth.
No question. And it's like I said, I've been celebrating Juneteenth all my life. It's become a national phenomenon to a certain extent. Certainly with Oprah Lee and making it a national holiday. But my earliest memories of Juneteenth, even a small town like Schulenburg, Texas, with only 4 blacks in my senior class and a small black population. But that's all we knew. We celebrated Juneteenth, and that is something that. In our churches and certainly at parades and festivals and celebrations in the park, it's something we did. And I wrote a column in Victoria back in the 90s that, to me, Juneteenth is our true freedom day for the entire country because we were not free on July 4th, 1776. July 4th, we were not free. Okay. Right. The whole nation was free or was made free on Juneteenth, and on Emancipation Day, and obviously Juneteenth represents that. It frustrates me sometimes when people from other states, well, y'all got free 2 years later and all this other stuff, and we didn't celebrate that. Well, did y'all celebrate any Emancipation Day? No, you didn't celebrate any Freedom Day. No, you had nothing to commemorate this seminal moment for our people and our nation, and Juneteenth represents that. Yes, Texas got it late, but Texas celebrated that, and now the nation has something to celebrate Emancipation Day, and that's what it represents. So that was good. It was a good day. I went to a parade. I went to a walk with Oprah Lee in Dallas because they're getting ready to build a Juneteenth museum in Fort Worth, and they're raising money for that. And went to a barbecue at one of my friends' house, and it was just a good day. And so, yeah, I mean, sharing things, and people calling you and actually sharing the stuff that you share because they learned information about it. And it's education. It's time to reflect, to inform, to educate, and make new memories.
Yeah, I think it's one of my. And this has just been me for decades, man. One of my frustrations is always when you hear other people talk about, I'm a quarter German and a quarter French, and my people came over on this boat in 1622 and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, it must be nice. You know what I mean? And it's always a source of frustration because people are just unaware about how good it is to know your history. Well, think about it if you can't even find it.
Right.
And it's, and I've taught, some people who I've grown closer, I've explained it to them. They go, I never thought about it like that. I said, I know you haven't because you haven't had to, but it's, and it's not the end all be all, but it's it can be frustrating sometimes because you just don't know your history. It's not recorded anywhere in a lot of places. Unless maybe you can find some slave records from back in the day, and even those can be sketchy.
No, for sure. So again, it was a great day, great moment, great remembrances. Again, to re-educate the young, so they know and they don't forget. And so, great Father's Day weekend. I see you went out with your father and your son and brothers and spent some time together, followed up by Juneteenth. So it was just a great few days. And that's kind of how I felt. You know, I had a great Father's Day weekend with my daughter and, you know, and followed up by Juneteenth just a couple of days later. I can't believe it's their third child where they it's the same house they burnt down and took over
I
was
knew
in
all.
1939.
I knew all of that.
They built it on the same. They built it on the same location.
Yeah, I knew all of that. I was just curious, just because even on the news they didn't say which part. You know what I'm saying? Which part she was originally from. That's what I was wondering. You know, is it Stop Six? Is it Como? Is it
No, I don't think Stop Six was Stop Six. Stop Six was not Stop Six way back
in 1939. Yeah.
It wasn't that at the same time now. But because it's funny because it's interesting. It's just like Oak Cliff. Stop Six back in the day was where the black middle class lived.
Yeah.
Just like Oak Cliff back in the day. It's changed out.
Kind of like Meadowbrook. The Meadowbrook part of Fort Worth.
Right. So Stop Six was a nice area at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously it changed out. But
she said it was nice where they built the house.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
The reason our house got burned down because they moved into a nice neighborhood.
It says 940 East Annie, but I don't know what part of Fort Worth is the same headed. But they got the address is right there in most. I just Googled it. I don't know if it's South Side, whatever.
Yeah.
And Martin, it's historic South Side neighborhood. It says South Side neighborhood, Fort Worth Star Telegram. So
yeah, I'm in South Fort Worth. So yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know like I said,
I got
in relation to the question you're asking, but
right.
But it's awesome for her.
It is.
It's just great full circle moment for her. So,
all right, we had two more topics for you today, Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir.
Before we get to the last one, your thoughts on the Mavericks and all the shade being tossed Luka Doncic's way by the national media.
And I say this with Dak, and I say I don't like the media and how we do things, and I talked last week about the Stars. I mean, you can make a great run, you can do everything you can, and get all the way to the finals. You lose in the finals, and it's not about the other team that won. It's about what you did to lose or how you suck now. It's like we can't give Boston credit. We have to denigrate the loser, and that's the mentality. There's been more talk about what Dallas ain't and what Luka ain't, instead of giving Boston credit. Boston's been in the Eastern Conference Finals 6 of the last 8 years. They've been knocking on. It's a process. This is the first time Luka's been. You just don't show up and win. So it's a process. Yeah, there are things Luka needs to work on. But for people to say that he's like Shady McCoy said he's the worst all-star he's ever seen. Like, dude, he's already a better basketball player than you ever was a football player. He's already a certain Hall of Fame basketball player. You'll never be a Hall of Fame football player. The people just say things that are just outrageous to me when people lose. The same thing with, I think that people go too far with listen, I love Chris Canty. But he tries to diss Kevin Durant, trying to say Luka's more Kevin Durant than Dirk Nowitzki. I'm like, what? Kevin Durant's a diss? I mean,
he was a better basketball player than you ever were a football player.
Not even close. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Luka has things working. Yes, he's going to grow, but he's young. I mean, remember the things they were saying about Jason Tatum up until he won. People questioning his ability to win and what he could do. It's part of the process. But yeah, it's like like I said, we talked about people forget what you did to get here. And I'm not picking on Tim. And we talked about this, but is it like the Stars? The Stars have shown heart. They've shown whatever. So to anybody to question their fight or anything else,
right?
At this point, you're forgetting what it took to get here. So, to question Luka bill as a basketball player because he failed in the finals. We forget what he did just immediately in the Western Conference Final way he tore with Minnesota.
Yep. That what you
We
were saying.
forget how.
That what you were saying last week when I love that point because you were saying last week. What about the shot he hit over the center in Minnesota?
Right,
You know what I'm
we
saying?
forget all of that.
Can't forget
Like,
that. Yeah, I got you.
And the same thing is like, and again, to a certain extent, the same like the people with Dak. I mean, there were people that would tell you that Dak sucked. I've never said Dak is Patrick Mahomes, okay? And I've never said he's Tom Brady or whatever else. But there are people that will sit here and will try to tell you that he sucks, that he's a horrible quarterback, that he did accurate, and none of that's true. But you fail in the playoffs, and people just have a referendum on your life and on your career that is just patently false. And so here we are with Luka, and I was just Googling before you called. Greeny was had posted something about the next 5 superstars have a chance to win. Luka was 4th on that list, but behind Ed, behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, behind 2 other guys. Like
all the guys he beat in the playoffs this year.
Yes, how's Luka 4th? I'm listening. How do we go from Luka being 4 to being 4th on that list? Because he was the last one we saw. I mean, it's just ridiculous to me that the national media has turned and made Luka in some type of.
Well, they got to kick somebody.
You don't have to kick. Why can't we just celebrate Boston?
They do. They did that. The 4-letter network that you're talking about, they got to kick somebody to get ready.
I agree.
They always do that. They just got to. It's not. That's why I don't really pay attention to them.
No, I don't listen to any of those shows.
Yeah.
Why can't we celebrate Boston?
It's not just them. It's all these shows because they've decided that being outrageous is better than having a conversation about something. Where you make some points about somebody's strengths and their weaknesses. But now it's really all about screaming because they've decided that's how you get paid. And so that's what most people choose to do. But you don't have to do it like that. Because I'm with Clarence. The media, being a part of it, just drives me crazy. And a lot of it is this, dog. To me, especially when it comes to national TV people, you never have to deal with the people that you talk about. So you can say whatever if I never have to deal with you. If I never have to see you, talk to you, be in your midst, I can say whatever about you because I don't have to worry about ever having to see you. When you're a local person and you make comments about the local stars, be they positive, be they negative, you know that when you say something about Dak Prescott or Dez Bryant or Ezekiel Elliott or any of the guys on the Stars or Corey Seager with the Rangers, whatever, you have to go deal with those people. And, that makes you take much more care about, even when you're criticizing people, you take much more care about it when you got to deal with them because when they confront you, it's a different space than when you sit up there high top Mount Olympus just throwing down lightning bolts at folks.
Yeah, and sadly, and I hear your point, and I was the man one thing. There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. There's nothing wrong with analyzing Luka's game and saying what he needs to do to get better to take to the next level. That's what you should do. But to sit up here and act like he's trash, he's a loser, that's the winner of the locker to the losers. I mean, Luka's not a loser, okay?
He ain't never been a loser.
Well, you mentioned Shady McCoy. Shady McCoy throws out stuff and he throw out outrageous stuff to see what stick.
Right, but even Windhorst did that last week.
Yeah, he did.
He called him a loser.
Yeah, he did.
And that's just too far. That things need to work on, but sit up here and just say, to say he's a loser, that's just going too far. And Jacques, I hear what you're saying about the local people. The problem is that most of the people that have the biggest hate, they don't go to the locker room. They're on the radio. But they're on the radio. They don't go to the locker room. I'm talking about even locally.
Yeah,
the local radio hosts They don't go to the locker room. They don't see these players.
Nah, that's why they feel like they can say certain things. You know, I just live by this creed. You should never write or say anything about somebody that you wouldn't say to their face. And, you know, I've tried to do that. I'm sure I failed from time to time, but that's why I've had some confrontations with people because I said whatever I said and they said they didn't like it, so they said something back, which is always they right. Which is why you know you try to show up when you're trying to do it real, you know, so that and I think that gives you legitimacy and credibility. I said I'm here. What do you have to say about it, if anything?
Listen, I've dealt with that. I saw what you wrote. I saw what you tweeted. You said, in the Cowboys locker room. I've dealt with it all, but I show up every day. I stand on mine, and I try to be fair. And
right.
And certainly when I write something or say something, it's most times like at my analyst of a player or a play, I got it from somebody. I don't make stuff up. You know. I don't ever proclaim to be a scouting guru and know what you're supposed to do. Okay, I don't ever complain. There's too many people who act like they know every damn thing about football on every play. Now, when I talk about something, it's because I've talked to a coach who told me. I don't just make stuff up.
Dog. One of my funniest. This was years ago, like probably late 90s. This one player was in the corner of the locker room. I was talking to somebody else, and we were just chopping it up. And I heard him bitching and moaning about something to another guy. And when that other player left, I walked over to him. I said, hey, dog, he didn't just make that up. Because he was talking about a reporter he was mad at.
Right.
And I said, I said, chances are, he got it from a coach. I said, I'm not going to say who, but because I know who it is and who he talks to and what position you play, he probably got it straight from the coach, doc. So you could be mad, but you should take heed of what he said and at least go check out to see, once you start being mad, if there's any truth to it, because it might be able to help you along the way. And he's like it had never dawned on him that he got that from a coach. Or somebody in the organization. I like the dude, so I was trying to hip him to the game. Like, people just don't be making this up, but this ain't their own theories, man, because we're not coaches. We talk to coaches and scouts.
Let me ask this. So if the Cowboys play bad, let's just say they stunk it up, they gotta know some bad press is coming.
Well, this is what I have found out from all the dealings I've had with players, man. Players know when they play bad. Just like I know when I write a bad story, I know when I write an average story, I know when I wrote one that's like, that's it right there. I took care of that one. I know. Clarence knows if he wrote a good story, an average story, he mailed it in. We all know, because you can't be great every day. Teams aren't great every day. So they know, they just want, that's why you always say it was a dumb play. You're not a dumb person. It was a poor play. But you're not a bad person. You just made a poor play. You made a bad decision. You made a poor decision. But you're not a dumbass because you made a mistake, because we all make mistakes.
Well, get it to your point. Some players are in denial.
Get there eventually, I guess.
Some players are in denial. I'm sorry.
Now, this is true.
They want you. They like to see when you coming when they score a touchdown, but they don't want to see you coming when they fumble the ball. They don't want to ask questions.
That's what I'm asking. If you know
they don't want to answer about their mistakes.
If you know you played bad, you know the media gonna come. So what the hell? They don't want to. They don't.
Yeah. No, listen. I'm gonna just tell you. Let me finish. I just want, and that's why Dak is so classy. Everybody don't want to face the music. I mean, and that's why it's important. That's why you cannot underestimate the responsibility of quarterbacks, because they have to answer question, win, lose, or draw. Mm-hmm. Okay, they don't get to hide.
Right.
It'll take 2 weeks to figure out their positions. Their offensive linemen, because the people don't show. You don't know what happened. Interception. It could have been because of missed block or a miscommunication up front. They called the quarterback to make a bad read or a bad throw, but the quarterback takes the heat. Those offensive linemen, The running back who missed, they don't have to face the music. And most of them are unwilling to face the music after games, after bad plays and stuff like that. And they don't want to hear it. They don't want to see you coming. I can tell you, after the Cowboys lost against Green Bay, how many superstars did not left that locker room and were not there for the meeting when they came in.
The majority.
You know, Dak has to go to the podium. But there were
Right.
other guys who who were not there when the media came into the locker room and don't want to talk, don't want to face the music.
You know,
You know,
I mean, we can talk
so
about. I mean, Dez Bryant's still in denial. He been
you
out the
know,
league for 6 years. He still think his play had nothing to do with his not being in the league. So some cats never get it. It's
yeah,
just the way it is.
and so they scared a little old man with a pen who 5'7", 160 pounds. It's it's mind
Is
boggling
it?
to me.
Is that the
But
is
yeah,
that the official height and weight these days?
I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out a number.
Oh, okay.
You big 6'5", 330 pound behemoths. Run from a dude with a pen all the time. That's
Right.
all.
Okay. All right.
That's been our experience as well. It's like, dude, they don't want to answer the questions. They don't want to talk. They get mad. All that other stuff. So, uh, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, to say they know they played bad, they're in denial because they got a lot of people in their ear. Talking positive or spinning it positive, or whatever else. But you would think that they would recognize it. And one thing to recognize, another thing to be accountable and own up to. Everybody's not accountable either.
True that.
So that's two totally different things there.
Last thing I wanted to hit you with before we let you go is you wrote about some interesting news, some sad news with Michael Irvin this week. How did you find out that his wife was dealing with his wife Sandy, who he's been with for 39 years, married to for 34. She's dealing with early onset Alzheimer's, and she needs help getting around. She has trouble talking. How did you come across that story?
Man, it's interesting, and I would tell you, let's just go back. I've had a good weekend, and I always say, like, I go places, I do things, just for my own personal enjoyment, but I'm never not working.
Right.
I'm always, everything is work to me, but I enjoy my work. I enjoy being in places. And I would say, I don't know, you worked at the Morning News. I'm with the Star Telegram. I'm not, quote unquote, the paper of record, okay? I have to work these corners like the wire, okay? He's like my drug corner. So I have to,
he got to work the corners now.
I'm just a gangster. I'm just a gangster, I suppose. But I want my corners. He said, I want my corners.
He wanted the corners now.
I had to work these corners like the wire. I had to get my stuff from the dirt, okay?
Yeah, we more like the plug over the Morning News.
So I had to get this thing from the wire. But just like last week, no one's talked to Kyrie's dad. Kyrie's dad, look over. You may have seen 2 articles since Kyrie's been playing where someone quoted him, and I don't think anybody's talked to Kyrie's dad since he's been in Dallas. And after the game 3, and I'm just there to do my, I write about celebrity sightings, what Cowboys are there. I go there because I'm at every big event in Dallas. Ain't gonna be on big sports event I'm not gonna be at for some reason because I'm trying to see if Jerry Jones gonna show up, trying to see if Dion or Zeke or Emmett or whoever's gonna show up. I might get another story out of it. Amari Cooper, I got Amari Cooper sitting talking about Dak Prescott a couple weekends sitting courtside. He hadn't talked about the whole Dak is the Black Kirk Cousins thing. I got him to talk about that on the record. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember that from a couple of years ago.
I don't. Yeah. I'd like to know what he said to you now, but I don't remember. I remember that when he said.
Yeah, it was not true. Somebody made it up, but it made the rounds in the locker room. He knew about it, and we laughed about it. And he said it's not. He said Dak made my career. I was in Oakland, and Dak and the Cowboys revived my career. I got nothing but love for Dak. But so I talked to Kyrie's dad. I just walked up to him after the game 3 loss. We sit in the tunnel and we just start talking and because I sit there and wait for who comes out and we're talking and I told him I want to do a Father's Day story. And again, this is added work. This is not an assignment. This is not anything the boss asked me to do. This is Clarence on his own trying to do something different.
Working his
It's added
corners.
work because I'm really supposed to be on vacation because it's football to training camp, and I'm just helping out with the Mavs on game day. And I said, let me, and I said, I asked him I want to do a Father's Day story. I said, no, man, I don't want to talk. I'm really talking about Kyrie. Uh, and we just talked about, I said, man, it's Father's Day. I know your story, what you've done. I want to celebrate fathers. And he's like, man, they always talk about the mother, never talk about the father.
You see how he worked him. You see how he worked him like that, Joe. That's an old school move right there.
Yeah,
Hey, let me tell your story, man, because they not telling it for us.
I remember him. Yeah, he told us about that last week.
Give me your number, and he called me. He said, I'll think about it. And he called me Thursday morning. We played phone tag on Thursday. Friday morning, he called me. We talked for an hour, and I talked to Tad Carper, who's a Cowboys PR guy who worked in Cleveland. He said, Kyrie's dad talked to nobody. He's not going to talk. He doesn't talk to anybody. And we sat and talked, had a great story. And a funny thing happened. So I do the story. I talked to Kyrie and I said, I got to talk to Kyrie. So I went to, Friday night's game. Kyrie's the last one out. Takes 2 hours to get there, like killing me. Because again, this is added work. Okay, the game's over. It's midnight. I'm still waiting in the meeting room. I asked the PR guy, hey, I want to ask the question of Kyrie. Sit on the front row. Sit on the front row.
But
I
you're
said,
not
I need to ask
NBA
Kyrie a
writer.
question. And the PR guy, big boy. When Kyrie first showed up, he asked all the NBA.com and ESPN. I'm not a basketball guy.
Nope.
I'm the first one who told him I wanted a question. He called on 10 people, did not call on me, telling me we out of time. Fine. I'm on the front row. I'm old school. I'm a veteran. This is what I do. Kyrie got off the podium. I got right next to him and walked up to him and got a one-on-one with Kyrie Irvin all the way back to the locker room, which was better because none of my stuff went viral. It didn't go on the NBA TV. It was exclusive to the Star Telegram.
What was your
So
first question?
don't play a player, okay? Okay, don't play a player. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I'm the king of the walk off. We invented the walk offs at Cowboys, because we didn't, because people back in the day, we started doing the walk off because the local TV did not send their talent, and we weren't asking all our good questions on the podium. We're gonna walk off and ask our good questions because they stopped sending talent out there and use our questions.
Now, what'd you say to Kyrie to get him to participate?
What, Kyrie? So nothing. I've been asking about his dad. I said, man, it's the first thing I talked about because it was a Father's Day story, and they just won that game because they could have been swept. And I
Right.
said, how great is this Father's Day for you to take your dad back to Boston?
Oh, okay.
For
That's a
Father's
good way to
Day.
do it.
And so we started, with the Father's Day thing, take his dad back to Boston because if you don't know, his dad was a star guard for Boston University. That's
Right.
one of the reasons why Kyrie went from Cleveland to Boston because they spent a lot of time in Boston growing up because that's where his dad was a superstar at. And so Boston has a lot of meaning for that Irvin family, even though Kyrie's experience with the Celtics fan is crazy, but there's a connection there. And so taking his father back to Boston, at least at that point after they blow out Victor on Friday, thinking, hey, we got a chance to really turn this thing around, had a lot of special meaning and sentimental meaning for them. And so we just talked about, fatherhood and what his dad taught him, and about being a father. And you guys don't know the story. I hope you guys read the story, but, Kyrie's mom died when he was 4 and his dad had to raise him and his sister by himself,
Right.
and and so that's a lot, and his also dad worked as a stockbroker at the World Trade Center and was on the bottom floor at 9/11. And he got out of there. And then that's one thing he talked about, his kids losing both of their parents. That could have happened. So it's a good story. It's a great story. It's a great Father's Day story. But I'm saying that all to say that it's all about relationships. It's all about connections. So Michael Irvin has opened up a sports bar, Playmakers, as one of his new ventures. And he's been tweeting about it. And I've been talking to him about it. And So on game day on Tuesday or Monday, I said, I'll come watch the game up there. And Michael said, come on, we'll talk. So clearly he wanted to talk about something.
Right.
And so I was just going through to walk the game. I was really not trying to do a story or whatever else. I was just going to check out a sports bar, hang out with Mike and shoot the breeze. And we got there. I did an interview with him, and he told me about his man. My wife's been very ill. She has Alzheimer's. And the thing about it is Mike messed me up is because he told me this. I interviewed him. He told me this. And then at halftime, he told the whole crowd. So, man, why you killing us? So he had already told me, and he told the whole crowd, just everybody, obviously there were no other reporters there, but there's fans there. But he told the whole crowd. But yeah, so it came about. We just started talking. He talked about the restaurant. He talked about the chef at the restaurant who used to cook for Sandy, or has cooked for Sandy. She liked his food, and so there was a connection there. But yeah, he wanted to share that with me. And again, this was not work that I had planned. This was just extra stuff. Just me being in the city, being about the scene, and relating to people. And that's kind of how it came about.
Can I ask a question? I need to ask a question. When you said you invented the walk-off, what exactly does that mean?
So they do questions on the podium.
Yeah.
Okay. So when a player leaves the podium,
right,
or a coach leaves the podium, we walk away with them and get questions that exclusive to us, that are not in front of the camera.
I thought that's what you meant. I just wanted to be sure. That's pretty.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty tight.
And so if you want to ask something that the proprietary, like say you got a scoop on something and you want to ask it away from other reporters, away from the cameras, you walk off with them. And so we call that the walk off. We walk off with them.
And then the other thing,
that's a fun fact right there. I like
the other thing is when you do the walk off, the person can provide context that they might not provide in front of a camera where it's recorded for all posterity. Like, hey, dog, that dude was late for 5 meetings. We almost didn't play him, and that's why you can get some context, but be it positive, be it negative. Now, the baddest of the 12-letter cuss words have a walk-off to the walk-off, which means you got some super stuff that you don't want even the little group of reporters to have. So you wait for the last question, and then when the person turn to leave, you make sure everybody stay. Then you take that giant step and walk off on the walk-off and have other people muttering up and like, look at this. Dog, it's all the game within the game now.
So sometimes you want to ask, you want to ask sensitive stuff that they'll, a lot of times, like certainly like McCarthy or Garrett or coaches, they're more willing to open up about things of sensitive nature that they won't do on the podium.
Yeah.
See, it's that type of stuff right there that I think me and other fans want to know that y'all doing. You see what I'm saying? We don't know the inner workings of that. Right. I think that's pretty cool right there.
Then when you get it to the highest levels, you have other people playing defense on the walk-off. Because they're like, nah, you're not finna get that. So while you take the giant step, one of the pros like Archer or me or Calvin or Chill will see you, and they'll take the half step to get locked in behind you, because if the other person stopped, okay, now it's just the walk-off. The walk-off has been defeated. So, it's a lot of games within the game. Like one time, Clarence, if you could have seen the look on Clarence's face in 1999 where I did just that. He was doing the walk-off with Dion, and I was like, he took the giant step, I took the mini step, because I said, oh no, we don't know if Prime is coming back. And so you're not finna get the last word. And he walked him to the bus, and at the end, I had asked Dion for his number. Hey, give him my number. And Chill was like, if you could have seen the look on his face, he was like, you 12-letter cuss word. And I was like, what's the number, bro?
Because I mean, he got to see it. Listen, I was the first one to get Dion's confidence back in the day. And I had the number. And I used to hang out. I used to write his little columns and right. And so, like I did a Dion diary, but it started talking way back in the day.
Right.
I will do unique things to create relationships. Hey, Dion, we want to do a diary, but you want to do a column every Sunday.
Whatever you want.
So that gives him knowing Dion because he likes to talk, he likes to be whatever, but it also helps me create that relationship. And so you did that. Those are the things you do for the newspaper, obviously, but it also helps you create those type of relationships. And so we talked every week to do his diary, but we also talked about football. We also talked about I'm one of the first people at his new house in Prosper.
Right.
But those are things you do working them corners, that you got to do.
Yeah.
To do your job, and people, it's more than that. So it's more than just writing. So I'm not here every day with Thoreau. Okay, I ain't gonna know say I'm here every day with Thoreau. Oh, all these great poet laureates. They're great writers to me. But just because you're a great writer don't mean you're a great beat guy, because you have to be able to relate to people, have relationships and stuff like that. So it takes all kinds.
Yeah, it does. So there's some inside, heavy duty inside reporting analysis.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you. You need to get some rest today. Get ready for the weekend.
Get some rest. Get ready. I'm going to Tampa next week, so I'm getting my 40th year Omega pin.
Oh, okay.
40 years in the frat.
All right. What is that? A big ceremony?
We had a convention. We got a national convention in Tampa. So I'm headed to Tampa to get my 40th year pin. So,
well, congratulations.
It's going to be a good week.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I'll call you for some stories later.
Yeah, it's going to be a good week. Going to enjoy this thing. So,
boy, let me just tell y'all something. This man became an empty nester. You can't keep him in town no more. He's gone. All right, dog. We appreciate it.
All right, man.
That's Clarence Hill Jr. of the Fort Worth Star Telegram, brought to you each and every Friday by Smokey John's Barbecue. Smokey John's Barbecue, home of the Jam Session Bowl, and they are doing some big things at Smokey John's Barbecue. I went over there with had a business meeting over there the other day, and for once, I did not get the Jam Session Bowl. I want y'all to know, the barbecue over there is good. A friend of mine had 2 ribs, and he must have sampled everything in there. He had some greens, he had some sweet potatoes, some yams, he had some cornbread. He had something else too, but he sampled a lot. I actually was trying to eat a little light. I had the Smokey John's salad, man, with some great chicken on top. It was fantastic. So Smokey John's, man, everything on the menu is divine. I think Aunt Minnie had the catfish. Joe and his wife had the Jam Session Bowl. It's all good, and they're doing great things over there. But the Jam Session Bowl, it's a mac and cheese base or a mashed potato base, and then your choice 2 out of 5 smoked meats. I usually roll with the brisket and the sausage, and then all that stuff you find on loaded baked potato, like bacon bits and chives and butter and sour cream and cheese. They put all that on that, man, and then they drench it with sauce or they drizzle it with sauce, whatever your choice is. And let me tell you something. It is food to live for. It's fantastic. Now, if you need it in your life a little sooner than that, you can go to SmokeyJohns.com, hit on the marketplace, and boom, you can get the sauce of the rub sent to your crib in a couple of days. And they are doing big things because they're also on the shelves at HEB all over DFW. And, they're in Allen, McKinney, Burleson, Waxahachie, Frisco. Any HEB you can find a rub. And dog, they are now at Joe V's Mart. That's like Trader Joe's little brother store. You can get the sauce and the rub at Joe V's. Dog, they got the banana pudding in Joe V's, man. That should really be criminal when I think about it. But this grandma's recipe, it is divine. That's all I can say. It is divine. Go to Joe V's. It's over there in Dallas, over right across the street from iBox, 7777 Wheatland is where it is, and you can find Smokey John's banana pudding on the shelf there. It's the same with the sauce and the rub. Get some. It's good for you. You need it in your life. It is food to live for. It is love in your mouth. Smokey John's barbecue. Mine was fantastic the other day. Let's take a quick trip around the block, bro. I need to ask you something. Now, I know Willie Mays was kind of before your time. Did you have any special feeling about Willie Mays growing up?
Oh, yeah. I've seen the highlights 100 times. And Say Hey Kid. And, catching the ball over his shoulder.
Okay.
Like a wide receiver in the outfield. Hell yeah.
Good.
I got, Hank Aaron before my time. Reggie Jackson before my time.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah. You gonna know who that is.
This is what happened to me, man, and I was just taken aback. So Willie Mays dies, to Say Hey Kid, one of the greats of the game, probably a top 5 player ever. Still, I think 6th or 7th with 660 homers. He's iconic. Okay, he's that good. Well, dude, so he dies, and my son walks in, and I don't know what made me do this. I said, "Hey, you know Willie Mays?" He said, "Nope." And I was just a little taken aback. And then, dog, asked me why I did this. I said, "Do you know Hank Aaron?" He said, "Nope. Who is that?" And I was like, "Man, I done failed you." I said, "Dog, do you know?" And at the time, something that flipped through my Twitter or something. And I saw Ken Griffey Jr. highlights. And I said, "Oh, do you know Ken Griffey Jr.?" And he said, "Nope." He said, "Dad." I said, "Do you know Babe Ruth?" He said, "Yeah, I heard of him." Then he looked at me and he saw that look on my face. He said, "Dad, I'm just not really into baseball." And I thought about it. And here's the deal, man. Hey, did your kids play baseball?
No.
For any particular reason? Is that they was doing summer track?
Yeah, they did summer track, and I think that's the main reason they did.
Okay.
That was it was really good. Especially my oldest son was really good. So baseball wasn't. He got second in the nation in the 100. So
right. No.
Baseball was never. If they would have showed any interest in baseball, yeah.
Well, here's a quick exit ramp. My son, I go out in the backyard and play a little catch with him, and he was pretty good hand-eye. And then I bought him a bat, and he just naturally could hit the ball. And I said, okay, we'll sign you up for baseball. He was 8 years old. He was, ironically enough, he was going to Dion's football camp during the day. And I said, "Hey, we'll sign you up for baseball when I come back from wherever I was going." Well, one Friday, man, in the middle of July, because I'll never forget it, I dropped him off at camp. And I said, "What y'all doing at camp today?" Because every Friday used to have an activity. This is what this boy said to me. Now, you know where this story is going, Joe. He said, "They roller skating today, but I don't know how to roller skate, so I'm not going to participate. I'm just going to talk to my friends." And it was my anniversary weekend, so I had scheduled a night at the Ritz-Carlton, downtown Dallas, with my wife. I go, and so somebody else picked him up that day, and they called me at the Ritz-Carlton, dog, right after dinner, right when I'm planning how to make my move. And they said, "Hey, your son hurt his ankle at camp today, and he seems to be bothering him pretty much. You might need to have it checked out." Told her, "Baby, keep it all good. I'll be right back." Man, I went and looked at that boy. I saw that look on his face. I said, "Uh-oh." Took him to the ER. The whatever it is, local ER. I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "I was roller skating." I said, "I thought you told me you wasn't going roller skating." Everybody else was roller skating. I decided to try. Why that man break his ankle, doc? Broke his ankle. Was in the cast for however long he was in, and that ended his baseball thing because I was gonna sign him up like the next week or something for whatever, and so he never got to play baseball. And the next year, I think, was player pitch, and them dudes was already throwing pretty fast at 9, and I was just like, "Yeah, I don't know about that, dog." So he ended up being more of an AAU summer basketball player. So as we get back on the highway, so he never played baseball was my point, and partly because he broke his ankle. But so I showed him these Ken Griffey Jr. highlights. I said he wore 24 because Willie Mays wore 24, and he was looking at Griffey highlights like, that dude is great. I said, yeah. I said he like LeBron. He was the number one pick in the draft. He was supposed to be one of the all-time greats, and he ended up being one of the all-time greats. Then I was like, he played baseball with his dad on the same team, and they went back-to-back one time. So he was fascinated by that, and I said, but you got to look at Willie Mays, man. And so I showed him that first catch from the game one of the 1954 World Series, and he was like, oh, my God, how did he catch that ball? I can't believe he caught it. He looked like a wide receiver catching an over-shoulder touchdown pass. And so I said, why don't you go do a little Googling of Willie Mays and read up on him a little bit. Do some Hank Aaron, too, because he's, besides Barry Bonds, he's your all-time home run champ. And ain't no asterisk next to his name. And so it just reminded me, man, that in this age, this is a different breed. Because, like, the way I asked you that, you're like, yeah, fool, I know about him and all these other cats. I was the same way, whether I saw him play or not. I read a bunch of books as a little kid about different athletes, and so I just was into anything sports. And this generation,
the difference is they got other things to occupy their time.
Yes, sir.
You guys don't know how to get home because they too busy. They're too busy playing the damn Game Boy. I remember my mom was like, "Hey, you need to get them some Game Boys and stuff." I said, "I hear you, Mom." She was always saying you need to get them. She was making sure their grandkids were taken care of.
Right.
And I was like, nah, they already got game systems at home. But why wouldn't you get them a Game Boy so they can be entertained? I said, how about they learn where their house is or what street to turn on? Yep. And how to get to grandma's house and stuff like that. I'm just saying this generation got a lot of stuff. These phones occupy their time. YouTube occupy their time.
Bro.
And, that different stuff that we didn't have, that you actually read books. And did different stuff. And you played outside. You had to know who the players was when you was outside.
That's how you could pretend to be them.
That's why you can say, I'm finna hit this thing, like Willie Mays, or I'm about to do this thing, I ain't picking no Rangers when I'm playing baseball. I'm about to be Reggie Jackson. I ain't about to be no Al Oliver, which he was good, but I'm not finna be Jim Sunbury.
No, dude, I was trying to bump my way on in softball and got cut in neighborhood softball and got cussed out. And I said, Mickey Mantle used to bump when he was in the two strikes.
Yeah.
But that's what Reed will do for you.
Yeah.
I was just trying to copy a superstar, get on base. I tried to hip him to the game as much as I could the other day and gave him a couple reading assignments. I said, just so you can know, man. Since you're a sports fan, at least know who some of the greats were before 1990.
Well, that's pretty far back for him.
That's what I said.
That's 30 years for him. Before after 1990, that's pretty.
Yeah. So
plus, it wasn't really no. We see highlights. Imagine if Willie Mays played today. He'd be on everything. Matter of fact, let me tell you the craziest thing in the world. When I was a kid, I knew Joe DiMaggio as Mr. Coffee.
You know what?
I didn't know he played for the Yankees, and somebody had to tell me that because I didn't know nothing about, Killer's Row and all of that, Murderer's Row and all of that stuff. I didn't know nothing about that, but I always knew, hey, that's Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee played baseball? Get out of here.
Dude.
I didn't know that.
You know who that is? That's a whole generation of people who don't know Troy Aikman played quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. They just know him as Troy Aikman, the broadcaster. Yeah. Just like people didn't know John Madden was one of the great coaches of the 60s, early 70s.
Played his game, don't know that.
Right. For real. So it's funny how different generations pick up different stuff. But I was just trying to pass my son on a little knowledge in the midst of everything else because an icon died the other day. And it touched me because, we at that age, man, where I'm not even going to say I grew up with him because I didn't. But those guys we grew up idolizing, let alone the guys that your parents grew up idolizing, they're in the fourth quarter overtime of their life right now. And, that circle of life can be a 12-letter cuss word. But it's something that everybody got to deal with and go through. So it's sad that he died. But 93 is a heck of a ride. Rest in peace, Willie Mays. It was a great ball player. And I like the fact that he got his roses, man. He got his flowers while he was still living. I want to remind you guys that, take 30 seconds, go to the Real Jacques Talk on YouTube, check out Kevin Smith interview on Jacques Talk 101, subscribe to the channel. Then you ain't even got to know when it's coming. The stuff will just pop up on your feed. You can always follow the show on Instagram, on the Real Jacques Talk. You hit me up on Twitter, X. If you think you follow me, you don't. My account's been kidnapped. Me and Content Dave talked about that last night. And I refuse to pay the ransom. I don't know. Send me an ear or something. I ain't paying the ransom. Screw you, buddy or budette. Whatever the case may be. But I am at JJT Journalist. You can hit me there. And then I'm on Clapper. We're going to talk about this next week, man. I'm heavy duty into doing some social media stuff that's interesting as I navigate my way into creating content and learning how to do it. It's kind of cool, but kind of a challenge, kind of frustrating all at the same time. Because Joe is one of those cats who I'm really envious of, because he could. I used to take my computer over his house more times than you could count. He would come up on mine to put in some software, or put in a new memory card, or a new color, something we was trying to do. And I've never been a Mr. Fix-It guy because I find it hard to follow directions. But now that things are on YouTube, it's a little easier for me because I can get a visual. I can run it back. So me and this social media thing is more than a notion, but I'm getting there. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. Big Joe and the Big Rig appreciate you. So does Content Dave. Shows are growing. YouTube channel's growing. We're growing. And we got some big stuff planned, and we'll continue to get it coming to you. So we appreciate you. Make sure you stop by Smokey John's Barbecue. Try the banana pudding. If you want to send me, one of y'all can send me a bill. I'll take care of it. Just hit me up on Twitter before you do it. I'll cash up you $3. I said one of y'all, okay? That's it.
$3.
Yeah. You think it costs more than that?
What costs $3? What we talking about buying?
Banana pudding at Smokey John's, man.
Okay.
I just said one person. Now I didn't say the world. I said
I'm trying
one
to
person.
figure out what $3 buy.
It'll buy you a
spoon, spoonful.
It'll buy you a serving of banana pudding at Smokey John's Barbecue.
Oh, it's only $3?
Yeah, I think.
If it's only $3, you can buy the first one. I'm gonna buy the next two.
Okay,
there you go.
See, that's how we make. That's how we get things done over here.
Hey, if it only costs $3 and it's good, yeah, I don't see me having just one.
Hey, I'm trying to be, health conscious. So
no, I'm not mad at you. No, I'm saying I'm gonna buy three. might get one to go home.
I ain't mad at you, dog. But that's my boy, Big Joe and the Big Rig. I'm laughing because he cussed me out so bad before the show today. I don't even know what to say.
I ain't even cut, bro. Please, I just ain't. I'm trying. Hey,
He talked so bad
I'm keeping
to me.
in the butt. What you crying for?
If he was a woman,
what you crying for?
We'd have broke up, man. But he talked to me so bad. Anyway, we'll talk to y'all. Wait. We'll talk to y'all next week. Get out. Stop. You going too far.
I got the button over here. I'm producing this thing over here.
With the button.
I'm producing. This thing can run 20 more minutes. What you talking about? The hell? I'm producing this thing over here. What you talking about?
You know what? That reminds me. This is why I get all these comments on Twitter about you. We'll be getting some more today, I'm sure. But until we chat,
I don't know what they're saying. I don't have no idea.
For Big Joe and the Big Rig, you guys be blessed.